calculator, the pump will now allow correction. So I was explaining to mum and dad that if you've noticed her sugar levels when it's approaching 2 hours is still high, they haven't been getting a lot of corrections in between meals. So if they start doing that, that 64% time in range is going to improve to 70%.
Okay.
So they're not far off. It's just a few more like boluses for corrections, and you'll be fine. And we also spoke about creating another basal program. So, for example, at the moment she's on her normal day basal program for the UAE, but I've spoken to Dad about creating one for the Philippines. So if she's active in the Philippines, if she's going to be playing a lot outdoors, if she's going to be swimming, and her usual activity is going to be like more than her day here, she might need like 15% less basal on that day. So we calculated like if she's currently on 46 units of basal, 15% less gets her down to approximately 40 units of basal. So I said to Dad, you could create one and call it Normal Day Philippines. And that's got less insulin, and then when she comes back to the UAE she can go back to the 46. So we commonly speak about traveling and what happens if you're going, like I know people that are in like cities like London and they're doing 20,000 steps a day, like much more activity than their usual day here, so they need less insulin. You can use temp basal reductions, but you can just create a new basal program because you're there for a while. So
most probably I will create a new basal program.
Yes, it's waterproof.
For how long?
So 60 minutes at a time, 7.6 meters deep.
7.6 meters?
Yeah,
Okay, I don't think Andrea will go 7.6
I can go.
I went diving recently. And I went down
You can get 7 meters down.
7 meters? When
Can
did
you
you ever try
dive down
that?
that low?
When did you ever go that?
Only 3 meters.
Maybe 3 meters, yeah.
She tried.
So she
No,
needs
the
to
one
get out
our
of the
swimming
water
pool
after
is only
60 minutes. She
2.8.
needs to dry up for about 5 or 10 minutes. Pat dry this and
But
he said,
the question is,
Where is it now?
what is the best? Because I'm trying to search.
Best site for...
do you want to stand up for a
I
second?
put it here.
That's good. Stand up for me. Show me your belly button. Okay, yeah, as long as it's 2 finger spaces away from the belly button, that's fine. So you can, and you wouldn't want to position it right here because that's where her pant line is. So you don't want it to be uncomfortable for her. So you can move, like, because the cannula is just here, right?
Yes.
So if you put the next one here, like even though you move it just 2 finger spaces away, and slightly like the back of the adhesive is now here, it's fine. You can do that.
Or make it a little bit
You
lower.
can go a little bit lower, or you can go like up here as well, like just above the pant line.
Yeah.
So you can keep changing like 3 locations on one side, 3 locations
Yeah,
on the
but
other
what
side.
is the best place?
There is no
the cannula should be upward or downward?
There's no ruling on that. There's no advice on that. It's
Because
all
in my opinion, if the cannula is downward, if the pump, yes.
the gravity.
I don't think so.
The gravity. It's a valid point. I've heard people discuss this before. It makes sense, but
Yeah, because the pump is pushing up the
you're
insulin
right.
to the-
You're right. And sometimes I think of this as well, but there's no research or any
So
evidence.
upward, downward
I forgot
position of the
we're going
cannula,
for
there's
the
no
pie.
problem.
On the arms, I just do vertical. On the abdomen,
Yeah,
I
the
do
first time
horizontal.
you put the pad, it was upward.
Yeah.
The cannula is upward.
Yeah.
Same thing I put in the leg also, it was upward.
Yeah.
But the problem is when I put on the leg,
I tried it also.
the problem is when we went to Dubai Mall to see Shaima, we walked
Too much, yeah.
2 months and she felt some pain.
Ah,
Because of the muscle, no contraction of the muscle.
Could be. Interesting.
So-
How was your appointment with Shaima?
She was the one who make it 120. It was 140 when you set it. She made it 120.
The BG target?
Target?
Yeah, but I think we did it 140 because
Yeah, you
it
have
was
it
new
here.
and we said we'd do that at the beginning.
Shaima set it to 120.
Yeah.
Last week I think we did 140.
And
Yeah.
she said that she will send a message to you.
So we will put in the order today so that she can try to get it up.
Mildly elevated.
Look.
Okay, this is where you need action. This is where the fluids and the extra insulin.
This ketos, when she had DKA, it was treated by potassium.
Yeah, but she was in a state of DKA. This is not yet DKA. DKA is when ketones has reached above 3, so greater than 3. Okay, so this is the critical period where you're deciding, can we manage it ourselves
You can do
or does
this.
she need to go to emergency?
Okay.
Okay.
You can
Once
do
it
the
gets
next
to like
one
these
because
levels
I
above
know you can do
1.5,
it.
2, and you're really not addressing it, then you may have to think about emergency. But you need to be giving her water and you need to be giving her more insulin. If you can't do it yourself, the ICU will do it. They'll give her hydration, they'll give her potassium, they'll give her all of these things to bring everything back up again. Okay? But sometimes in this situation here, like especially here, it's easier managed by you at home if you have the right education to do it. But you won't know unless you use ketone strips.
Okay.
Okay?
You can do it.
We'll check that one.
I can see her points going
We
up.
can. I don't know if that is covered by the insurance.
Otherwise, just remember, it's not good to keep her high above 250. So whatever it takes to get her down.
So that's why we have to manage when we notice that at least the sugar is reaching 200. If we have to give a corrector,
You were so
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Just
Definitely the corrector.
And if she's unwell, keep an eye on her sugar levels. Keep her hydrated. If her sugar goes up, investigate why it's high. Is it high because of the missed bolus, or is it high because of sickness, or is it high because of a malfunction in the pump? Yeah.
now it's clear.
Cool. Great. No, that's right. So the 60% is the 10.25. It will be given to her in one hit. The remaining 6.85 is going to be given slowly over 4 hours. Right from the beginning, but over 4 hours. So you'll get this now, and then immediately after this is given, she will start getting this, but very slowly over 4 hours.
The whole time.
But can you show it again how
Yeah.
to split?
Yeah. So let's cancel this. Are you sure you want to cancel? Yes. Okay. Andrea is about to eat a meal. Okay. We enter in what she's having. She's going to have, let's say, but remember, I believe exercise can make a difference to her basal. Can make a difference to a lot of things. Another thing you might want to keep notice of, if you notice anything, is if she has a hypo after any meal. So 1.5 to 2 hours after a meal, you may need to consider reviewing her bolus settings. Which ones would you need to consider? You would need to consider
the carbs to insulin.
Amazing.
Carb to
So the insulin to carb ratios. So
we have to increase.
correct. So you look at which meals. Is it breakfast? Is it lunch? Is it dinner? If it's only one of the meals, then only do one of them. Okay.
Maybe we have to increase this one to 4.5, 5.5.
That's a nice start. Yes, that's a great start. Press save and then do that. Another thing that you would need to consider is if you gave her only a correction, not a meal, it's only a correction, and she has a hypo after the correction, then you know it's the correction factor. Okay, so the correction factor at the moment is 40. If you wanted to make it weaker, how would you go with the number? Up or down?
This is...
So 1 unit reduces her by 40, and you're noticing that she has a
I have
hypo.
to increase it.
Correct. So you make it 50 or 60.
Yeah.
Yeah? Great.
I have to increase that.
Honestly.